3, 2, 1, let's go! What's up, Superhero Crypto Ninja family? Bringing you another weekly video with my guest Crypto Sage. Today we got some important things to talk about. We're going to talk about 4 really cringe-worthy news articles that basically are going to be leading up to our main topic, which is the central bank digital currency coming in 2023. So all of these stories are aligning perfectly, and it seems like this is all feeding into the government's plan of creating central bank currency. So, yeah, how are you doing, Crypto Sage? I see you have a new outfit. How's that working for you?
No, it's good to be here. Yeah, it's okay. It's not my favorite. It's just having some technical difficulties. I'm sure the original will be back soon.
Okay, nice.
But we have a lot to cover today. Yeah, I mean, it does, I think, dovetail into the central bank digital currency conversation, but there's also just a lot happening. So maybe we dive right in.
Yeah, let's dive right in. So I'm getting a little bit of lag. That's okay. Okay, so our first story that we're going to cover is one of the most important ones that's been making the news. So it's around the DeFi protocol called SOLEND. So if you don't know, SOLEND is a DeFi protocol on Solana, and it's basically got the highest amount of total value locked on the Solana chain. And so all these stories that we're going to be talking about are basically users thinking that these protocols and stuff are decentralized because they fall under the name DeFi. And what we're finding is that they're actually CeFi, which means centralized finance. So what happened in this story is Solana, or SOLEND, again, the #1 protocol, they have a whale account that locked up $180 million in Solana. And they use that to take out a loan. That's basically what SOLEND does. It allows you to take out a stablecoin loan. So out of the $180 million that they locked up, they took out $108 million in USDC, basically borrowing against it. And the problem was that with the crypto crash that has been happening lately, they had a chance to get liquidated if Solana hit $22.30. So we got we got really low. However, now we're back up to $35, but that wasn't the problem. So when we were syncing earlier this week, SOLEND basically had a vote on whether the community should overtake this whale account, again, with $180 million, so that they don't get liquidated. Now, if they did get liquidated, again, if Solana hit $22.30, that would be pretty bad for the Solana price and also for SOLEND, the protocol. So they wanted to prevent that liquidation from happening. So they did a vote, and 97% voted yes to overtake this whale account. The problem with that was that the 97% of votes basically came from one person who had 1 million of the 1 million plus votes. So this one person basically, who only had, I say only, but he had $700,000 locked in SOLEND, and he basically, his vote swayed the decision to overtake this whale account. Now, luckily, the Solana price went back up, and I think now it's at like $35. So SOLEND was like, okay, maybe we don't need to overtake the whale account now. Maybe we're far enough away from the liquidation price that it won't matter. So SOLEND basically had another vote to overrule that previous vote. And so that vote passed. Basically, the story is that it's not a decentralized platform as most people would think it would be. Because if you have $700,000, which a lot of people do, and this guy just locked up $700,000 and basically had 100% of the voting rights. And so, yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Mr. Sage?
How could that have even happened? You know, in the sense of like, isn't this whale account, wouldn't that one have the most voting rights? Like,
yeah, that's what I would think, right? Yeah, because he's got $180 million, which is way more than $700,000. So
it looks like not really connected to what you have put into it. There might be maybe he's holding some kind of like SOLEND token. Do they have their own token that maybe gives voting rights.
Yeah, potentially. I'm not too sure how it works, but a lot of people were pretty upset that not only was there a vote that they didn't really want, but there was also a counter vote that switched it the other way. So it's interesting because I mean, they were trying to do their best. You can't really blame them, right? To not want this whale account to get liquidated. So apparently in like a traditional way that it would get liquidated would crash the price, obviously. So the vote was to take over the account and do a smart contract upgrade that allows them to liquidate it via OTC. So I don't know the exact details, but I know if you go over the counter, which is what OTC stands for, I guess it doesn't crash the price as bad as it would. Just like if you go OTC to buy something, it won't raise the price, which is how a lot of the big guys like Michael Saylor, they're buying OTC. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's pretty crazy. I don't know who has their money in SOLEND, but I would take it out. Definitely.
OTC means like outside of the exchanges, basically.
Yeah, over the counter. Yeah.
So I'm also just curious, like in this sense, like to take over this guy's account, like he still has like, well, somewhere like maybe $70 million, right, in in equity in there. What would that mean? Like, what happens to him?
Yeah, I assume he wouldn't lose it. It's just maybe he loses control of it for a short time. Like the plan was not to take it over indefinitely. The plan was to take it over just in case it's about to get liquidated and then have a smart contract in place, I believe. But essentially, yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised that guy hasn't tweeted. That's a lot of money. It must be a VC, right? Somebody from Solana that got in really early. That was a lot of money, $180 million. But that's pretty cool. Like if you think about this platform, SOLEND, you put in $180 million, you can take out a loan of 108 million in stablecoin. Like that sounds like a pretty good deal, doesn't it?
Well, like, yeah. So this is another thing. Like it's, I think there's other threads to this conversation, but I'm also wondering about like when you do this, like, for example, I know that when you do this on networks like Nexo, for example, which is a similar thing, like you put in your money in there, they give you some percentage APR on it, and you can also borrow against it. But whatever you borrow, you're not getting any APR on it. So it's almost like, you know, if I were to give you $100 and you're like, I will lend you 80 of this dollars back. What is the actual, like, why do people actually do that? That doesn't seem to make much sense. What is the benefit?
I think they just want to be liquid like right away, right? So instead of waiting for APR, they get this lump sum of stablecoin and then maybe they cash it out to buy a house or actually spend it. So,
but why wouldn't they spend the original amount?
Because maybe they're hoping the price would go up. That makes sense.
Oh, so let's say if we locked up Solana and the Solana price went up, we have 180 million in there. We borrowed 108. And then the price goes up, and then
well, it's just like buying a house, right? You can take out a loan on a house. It's no different, right?
Take out a loan on your own house? You mean like that you own the house and you take a loan against it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but house is not money. And here you're like using currency, and then you're taking out currency. I never fully grokked the implications of it. Like what I guess maybe there's the upside that you can still ride the growth of that coin.
Yeah.
But you would still have to pay back. You still have to essentially buy your account back by paying back the amount you loaned.
Mm-hmm. It's just like people that don't want to spend BTC, right? Like most people don't want to be spending their BTC, especially at these lows, right? They'd rather hold on to it. So they'd rather take out the USDC. So yeah, speaking of that, let's move on to the other one. So the next one is a Bancor protocol. So this is a very similar situation. So Bancor is like SOLEND, only it's for Ethereum. So it's a protocol. Right now they have a total value locked of $233 million, which I find absurd. I would take your money out of Bancor, but I'll get to why. So they had this function called impermanent loss, so IL protection. So basically, the other day they sent out a tweet saying that due to hostile market conditions, Bancor's impermanent loss protection is temporarily paused. And then one of the most famous Twitter guys, Kobe, he posted, he's like, What's the point of impermanent loss protection if it can just disappear when you need it the most? And it basically shows that DeFi is not really DeFi, it's really CeFi, and that anyone who owns these centralized or these protocols which are under DeFi can make a change at any time, just like stopping a core function or a core feature or a core benefit of why people put their money in this anyways, right? So there was a later tweet called by a guy named Hesu. He says, they print new BNT, which is basically the token that Bancor will give you as for this impermanent loss. And basically, if you don't know what impermanent loss is, if you lock your money up as liquidity, if the price drops, there's a loss there. And so they compensate you by giving you this BNT token. Now, this Hasu guy is basically saying that this is a guaranteed death spiral. And we all know fucking death spirals since the collapse of Terra. So he's saying that you give out BNT to holders, which causes inflation, and then all the other BNT holders, their value is less, which forces you to create more BNT to cover that as impermanent loss. He says this impermanent loss function is a guaranteed death spiral. So pretty crazy. Again, 233 million still currently locked in there. I don't know who's got money in there, but I would definitely take it out at this point.
I think what the theme overall is that, the theme overall is that you're always essentially in all of these platforms where we thought that we're in control of our funds. We're not in control of our funds.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not right? Even, a bank is way safer at this point for these things.
I mean, looking what happened in Canada with the people who are, donating to the truckers just to have their bank account frozen. I mean, there's some serious FUD going on, no matter where we're looking.
Yeah, what the fuck is happening with crypto? We were supposed to move towards this unified, we were supposed to band together as a community and really push DeFi and the true meaning of DeFi. And now look at what's happening. But again, I like this stuff. As we mentioned in the last episode, this is just called evolution, and all these issues and problems will eventually settle as the dust does eventually, and the phoenix will rise. Hopefully we'll see what that phoenix is. But the next one that we're going to talk about is USDC Blacklist Function. So this is freaking crazy because I know I have most of my money in USDC because most people aren't keeping their money in USDT because of all the FUD in there. But basically the founder of this newsletter, this popular crypto newsletter called Daily Gui, his name's Anthony Sassino. He tweeted that USDC accounts can be blocked via blacklist function. Okay, so after he tweeted that, the Circle CEO and co-founder Jeremy Allure replied with, "Not helpful, FUD." And then he linked to an article, and this article most people dismissed as not addressing the concern of being able to blacklist your account and basically take away your USDC. However, there was one question and answer within that article that stated, the question was, if I use USDC in my protocol application, can my protocol application be blocked? And the answer states, Circle and the Center Consortium only block addresses when we are legally required. The response goes on to say that this happens in respect of a court order or any sanction compliance. So of the total $53 billion in USDC, okay, so there's 53, I'm just trying to think, $53 billion in USDC. That's a decent amount.
Circulation.
Yeah. He says only $2.7 million is currently blocked. And that's only a total of 38 unique addresses that have ever been blocked, all which comply with the sanctions and court orders. So I guess something to do with illegal activities, and then 38 have been blocked. So I would say not a major concern, but also, again, there could be a catalyst event that causes them to block millions of addresses at one point. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts?
They're basically saying that they're answerable to the government.
Yes.
Right. And we know that that original tweet is true, because what they're saying is actually, we have blocked 38 addresses. Yeah. There is this feature. The feature exists.
Yeah.
And so it's again, it's like this space. It's we're kind of exploring this topic of central bank digital currency. And it's here it is. actually USDC is already kind of like this, because they can any time your $1 million can be absolutely nothing with just the click of a button. If you and you can see, like, I mean, in different countries, like in our space, like Canada, North America, US, etc., we kind of have this sense of like leisurely being able to talk about anything, being able to criticize like things that we don't like, protest, etc. But in many other countries, that's not the case, right? In many other countries, if you speak out against something that the government's doing, Russia, China, many of the Middle East countries, like that is enough reason to put you in jail, to take away your things, etc. And here is like, there was this innovation, there was this kind of like emergence of like, hey, no, how about we create something that's like, we control, that there is actually no singular controller. And yet right in this space, we're finding actually in almost every one of these aspects, there is like this hand inside of the puppet. And we thought, oh, the puppet is just being controlled by all of us together as market forces, but actually not that way at all.
Mm-hmm. It almost, yeah, it's like the biggest revolution, which is crypto in the finance industry, is just kind of showing that maybe all money eventually is going to be controlled in some way, shape, or form just by the people with the most. You know what I mean? So, or the people that own it. Okay, maybe we need a universal basic income for us all. Maybe CBDCs are the way to go. Let's explore that soon. I'm just kidding.
Go in the other direction. Let's just embrace it.
Yeah. So I'm just actually looking at the market cap of the stable coins. It's pretty crazy. USDC is at 55 billion and Tether's at 67 billion. I think there's a huge discrepancy, like not probably like a couple months ago, and now it's almost close to par, which is pretty crazy. And now this news comes out. So it's like, I'm looking at where to park my money now. I don't know much about DAI, but should we move our money to DAI? There's even one right under DAI is one called True USD, which I've never heard of. Right under that is another one called Pax Dollar, which I've never heard of. Right under that, there's another one called Neutrino USD, which I've never heard of. And then there's the one that we've all heard of, which is USDD. So we don't have many choices. Like 5 of these ones I've never heard of before. So interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rough. Okay, so what do you know about this WeChat ban on crypto and NFTs?
WeChat is just basically banning all of the accounts, that even the OTC kind of accounts. One thing that this is saying is like, they're scanning everybody's conversations. 1. 2 is whoever is selling NFTs, even over the counter, whoever's talking about NFTs or crypto has now had their account closed.
That is super scary.
So what is the deal? and from what I understand, there's no warning. It's just like, now that's the policy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that is crazy. I use WeChat, but thankfully it's only to talk to Chinese like suppliers and stuff like that. So there's no mention of crypto, I don't think. So if you are using WeChat to chat about crypto, maybe you want to stop that ASAP. That would be the action advice. Okay, let's move on to the main topic, which is all of this FUD and everything that's crumbling, even if it's not like false news, it's concerning, is leading us to the CBDC, which I heard is going to launch in 2023. And apparently, again, don't quote me on this, but Jerome Powell mentioned this. Is this something that you heard as something that's confirmed for 2023?
I haven't heard that Jerome Powell's any kind of quotes from him, but I haven't been following that.
Yeah. So, I mean, apparently Jerome Powell mentioned something about 2023 CBDCs. We know that China has their digital yuan out already. So I wouldn't be surprised if the US did follow suit, and it was about a year away. So what I know about this is that apparently all this market manipulation of price going up and down, specifically more so down, is the government basically trying to crash crypto, and they're trying to crash it before they regulate it, which makes sense, because if it was regulated and then it crashed, it will not look good on their side. So what else do I know? Apparently Monero is going to be the go-to currency that people are going to flock to, because Monero has proved itself. And you might ask yourself, why not other privacy tokens? Well, Monero has proven itself specifically on the dark web, which is, I think, where it's used the most. But once CBDCs come out, I think it'll be used in many more places than just the dark web. There's even talks about them being able to track Bitcoin, which obviously we all know Bitcoin is trackable. So once CBDCs come out, there's going to be a huge clampdown on Bitcoin. Like right now, they're not really tracking transactions. Sure, they have a small team that might be doing some stuff, but I think they're going to really increase their workforce. They're going to track BTC. If they deem your transaction, what quote unquote, let's say illegal, they can also just like flag it. And so on the blockchain, it's known as like dirty money. And now if you send that money anywhere, it's kind of like a useless BTC. That's some rumor that's going around. So I don't know. I feel like after learning about all this and stuff like that, I might put some money into Monero. What are your thoughts?
My thought initially when you mentioned Monero is like Monero is a centralized experience, right? So who are they serving? Right. And like, wouldn't they have the same kind of experience where if the government says, hey, Monero, they'd be like, oh, yeah, here's everybody, you know, or is this inherently there's truly no trackability? It's a true, like, how can I say, like unchangeable token code. Or not? I think it is.
I think it is because the nerds of nerds that I used to hang out with in 2017 when I bought Bitcoin, the ones that were really into it, they were already heavy into Monero and like talking about it. So it's not like it's a new coin or something like that. And it's been thoroughly investigated, their white paper and all that stuff. I mean, I might do a deep dive actually on this. This is actually a good topic that I can do a full video on. What is Monero and why it's important when CBDCs come out. I think that'd be a good one.
Yeah. I mean, that case sounds very good. But we're basically like looking out in the world and we're saying, well, what's safe, right? Like, where is safety? Where is stability? Where is some degree of certainty, you know? And the truth is probably that it's not anywhere in the world, right?
Yeah, maybe the Russian dollar. Okay, speaking of things that are pumping, Celsius apparently pumped really high. Their token pumped. I don't know if it's from this news. Maybe, do you know anything about this? I think you mentioned Celsius starting repayment of debts. Now, this is not repayment of money back to their users. This is something else, right?
This is institutional debt that they have to other protocols.
Does that? I wonder how that affects the people that are affected in any way, shape, or form. Is that just?
I don't think it unfroze the withdrawal transferability. I think it's just about they're basically signaling virtue, saying that they are trying to work together with everybody to stabilize the liquidity.
Yeah, Celsius is crazy. This is why it's so important to listen to podcasts like these, just to educate yourself. To be in the crypto space, time and just education and wisdom is very important. Hopefully you don't have to go through failures. I know I've lost thousands and thousands of dollars to like scams and stuff like that just because of FOMO, fear, excitement, whatever it was. But there was that article or that tweet I sent you from that family. Remember, they put their life savings into it to pay for their kids' education. They were late 50s, and now they have to go back to work. Honestly, like, you think it's like, oh, stupid, they shouldn't have done that, but it's such an honest mistake. I can put myself in their shoes and definitely see myself doing that if I didn't spend enough time in crypto or was not educated from all this FUD, right? And in a bull market, there's not really that much FUD, so you have no real concerns or nowhere to get that knowledge to educate yourself.
Yeah, I feel like in a bull market, all of these things work.
Yeah.
Like you can put your money anywhere and it grows.
Yeah, nobody's investigating like the small fine print. There's another topic that is not really related, but it's pretty cool. So there's a Binance alternative now. So Binance being the biggest crypto exchange right now. So apparently 7 of their core tech people, which is quite a lot. I don't know how many core tech people they had, but 7 of their core team members left, and they built a new exchange called Mayex, Mayex. And the goal of this new exchange, the vision of it is to basically make every transaction more profitable by eliminating fees altogether. So even though exchanges right now like FTX, Binance, Bybit, all of them try to compete on the small little fees that they take from you, this one's trying to eliminate them altogether, which really helps because they're saying that a lot of these buy and sell orders are like really small micro transactions and that every transaction counts. So I think this will be appealing, especially if they can pull it off. I don't know about putting my money, even though it's like, okay, they're from the core team. I just don't know how trustworthy it is. Probably not going to put any money into it until it's much bigger. But even then, even if it's much bigger, it doesn't necessarily mean it's safer. Like, do you feel like there's any clause or anything that would make you feel safe to put your money into a new exchange?
I have a different philosophy about it. Like, I just basically try to diversify. Like, my philosophy about money and trying to like think about what's happening in the world and how to, keep safe and how to get profitable is really about diversifying. So like, I would take, if I had all of my stuff in like Binance and like KuCoin, I would maybe take a little portion and spread it out. That, my thoughts about it is like, and it's not always true because sometimes they're all connected. But my thoughts are like, at least some of them should stay, but sometimes they all fall together because sometimes they're all linked in the back end. We think that there is actually multiple exchanges, but it's like, or multiple offerings, exclusive like companies that are doing the things, but we sometimes find out that they're all connected to just one thing. There was recently a really powerful Ponzi experience in DeFi that was like, wow, it was all just one thing, but it had like 3 or 4 different like outlets and faces.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even like thinking about like you spreading it out on different exchanges and then me thinking, okay, why not just hold it yourself on your Ledger or Trezor, your hard wallet, which is what a lot of like the super enthusiastic crypto people talk about. I think for the most part, most people hold their money on exchanges, but like the super high security tech nerds, which I admire, I'm not one of those, to hold most of their stuff on the Ledger. But even then, it's like, if you're holding USDC on your Ledger or your hardware wallet, even then, now we know it's not safe. They can just blacklist you.
Yeah. And I don't know how to best comment on this because I have had this weird experience. It's a suspicion. Like, I don't know if this is true because like I am not as nerd and detail oriented. Like, I should be taking screenshots, but I have stablecoin in my Ledger, and I swear it's decreasing. Like I don't remember spending it. I'm like, oh, I know for sure it's 3,000 something in this account. I open it, it's like 2 something. It's like 800 something. I'm like, shoot, what did I? And I look at the transaction history. There's no recent transactions, and I also have had like tokens just appear inside of my accounts. Like all of a sudden there's this like there's 666 of a like some random token I don't know.
Yeah, they can airdrop you. That's all a scam. That is a crazy scam. I wonder how many people lose money on that. So that scam is basically, once you know somebody's wallet address, and that's pretty easy to find out. Even hardware wallet addresses, you can send them airdrops. Like, there's no verification for you to say, yes, I want to receive this airdrop. They'll just send it to your wallet, and then you'll see it, and then you'll try to cash it out. You'll find out like, oh, where can I cash this out? This exchange or this website. And then you log into their MetaMask, and yoink, all your money is gone. So, man, this is crazy. Right now I feel like I wish crypto didn't exist, but that's just me spreading more FUD. We'll make it through this, guys. I think we've covered everything that we need to cover pretty quickly, which is great. Mr. Sage and I signed up for the prop firm challenge, so we're doing a challenge.
On that.
Yeah,
that's a good.
So we spent. If you guys didn't watch it, check out the last video. You can skip to the timestamp where we mentioned the prop firm stuff. But basically, we put $85. I think it was $80 something, and we got $10,000 as the account. And so our challenge is we're limited to BTC as the trading pair, and we're going to see who can make more money at the end of 30 days. So just a quick update. I've only taken one trade so far. I'll be taking a lot more trades now. It's closed on the weekend, unfortunately, and I'm up $80. So.
Okay. Yeah. So these prop firms, they're working through brokers. So it's not, and there's no exchanges, there's no conversions, there's nothing. It's like literally, it's just cash, and you're basically putting bets on whether something's going to go up. So it's basically like futures. And just to highlight again, like the prop firm, like where you pay $84 to get 10,000, this is a challenge. This is like, it's called an evaluation account. So we pay this registration fee to get this account. And if we qualify, like if we pass the evaluation, which is, the rules are very basic. It's like, you don't go have more than 5% drawdown per day and not more than 12% drawdown throughout your entire evaluation period, which is just 30 days. And the goal, your positive goal is very simple. It's just to get to 8%, and you pass phase one and they give you your registration money back. And then you have to pass one more phases in the next 30 days to gain 5% on your account. And then they'll make it into a real account. So they'll give you real cash to work with, and a portion of the profit, between 75 and 85% of the profit that you generate on that account, you get to keep. They will pay it out to you in crypto or in PayPal or whatever different ways that they do it.
So is it always a 2-month evaluation period? So they're making sure that you don't get a lucky 1 month, right?
It's not about the time. That is the maximum allotted time. So if they have another rule that you have to trade a minimum 5 days in the whole of your evaluation, I think per phase. So if you traded for 5 days and you got up to, like, let's say that we made a great trade today and it goes all the way up to 8%, done. You passed phase one.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yep.
So for me, I am up 1.67% right now out of the 8% that I need to gain.
Okay.
I had all wins except late last night on that W pattern that it was forming. I took an L.
Okay. What firm are we using again?
MyForexFunds.
Okay, MyForexFunds.com. I honestly cannot say I recommend them at this point, especially if you're trading crypto, just because they don't show you, like, the trading interface is kind of whack. They don't show you like the dollar amount that you're risking, the percentage. It's not like your typical crypto exchange where they show you all that information. They use, I guess it's because most people trade Forex on there. Is that correct? They use
It's not their interface. This is the standard interface with all the brokers, all stock brokers, all Forex.
Are you saying all prop firms will use this similar interface? Oh shit, that's stupid. I hate that. What were they trading in again? Not pips. What is it?
It is pips.
Oh, it's pips. Okay. So
it's just a different way of thinking. Like, if we think about the beautiful GUI of like all of the exchanges, and it's like, it's kind of like they try to make it simpler. This one is like probably just taking like standards back from the 1970s, and it's like just that's all you have. You have red button, blue button. But if you get used to it, like I started to grok it better. It's like when you set your lot size, so you have to set how much you're gonna bet, basically, right? We kind of think, oh, what's the dollar amount? But the dollar amount is very simple. It's like, if you have 0.01, that's 10 cents. If you have 0.1, that's like going to be $10. So you basically start to understand, like when you see what the connection is, then you just put whatever lot size you want. And then you have to know $10 per what? Per pip, per like movement that it makes. And you can actually get the pips very simply on TradingView. If you take a look at your trade on TradingView beforehand and you use the long and short position, you align them, you'll know exactly how many pips your stop loss is and how many pips your take profit is. And at that point, you then know, like, it's this number times 10 cents or this number times $10 or $5 or whatever you put in your lot size.
I don't know, man. Sounds like a bitch. Somebody please come up with an alternative, or you can create a video, Mr. Sage, which we will. We'll create a video showing you guys how to use this. But again, the purpose of this is so you get experience with trading. You don't have to risk much. You can get momentum, and you can also make a decent amount of money if you're good. So,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't we end with this? Oh,
I just want to say one more thing. Like the biggest thing in trading is fear. Like that is the number one challenge. The fear of like the fear that makes you get out early and not actually take the full ride. The fear that makes you like get in because you're FOMOing, or the fear that it's like, oh, it's going towards your stop loss, and you're like, oh my God, I'm not sure. And you know, and because of that fear, we create losses, we cut our gains short, and we basically enter like losing trades just because we're like, oh my God, I got to get in.
mm-hmm.
So the cool thing, this is a transcendental experience that prop firms offer us, is that there's no fear. Typically, when you do like a demo account, like on your own, it doesn't have any kind of excitement to it. It's just like, oh, well, it's completely fake. That's why I never liked playing with demo accounts.
Mm-hmm.
I at least rather give myself something. But here, it's kind of demo, but at the same time, you know that if you pass it, you get real money.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, it takes away the fear. It allows you to engage more fully, to learn, to take risks, to really figure out how the market works. And at the same time, your neck is not on the line, your life savings is not on the line. And I want to say one more thing. Typically, when we are trading, we take a nest egg or whatever, right? We take an amount like $1,000 or $10,000, but now that amount is kind of like locked in there, and we're trying to make money with that amount, right? It's like if we put a $10,000 trade, then we get that kind of a multiplier on our win or loss. But here, that amount is given to you from the start. So like for you to actually have that 10,000, it's fully like when it's yours, it's fully at risk all the time. You're just risking it, and you may get money out of it or you may not, but there's that fear factor. In the prop firms, it's their 10,000 or even up to 300,000. So we got to say, wow. So that amount I can use to make money with. And at the same time, no fear, no loss, no money stuck, no nest egg stuck in there. I feel like it's actually like an incredible opportunity.
Then there have been rug pulls, right? In these spaces, obviously.
There are, it's not rug pulls necessarily, not like what we traditionally would think about, but it's like there are prop firms that are kind of like fake prop firms, essentially. But what they do is they don't give you your money. Like when you want to withdraw your profits, it'll start to give you, oh, this regulation, that thing, this, all kinds of different excuses, but they will not give you your money.
But there are like 3 or 4 when I did my research, at least 3 to 5 really stable ones that have been around a while. So
yeah, check Trustpilot always. Like any kind of financial institution that you get involved with, God, I wish like I remember this, because I lost, I would say like at least $5,000, where if I had only put their name into Trustpilot, I would have been like, oh, I get it. This is one of those companies that like takes your money, and when you make money with it, they don't give you anything back. So just check Trustpilot. For the most part, if you have a solid, lots of reviews, that's a really good sign. And then of course, just to see what other people are saying, their experience.
Awesome. So Crypto Sage and I did a podcast on a different channel, which I will try to link below when we get that up. It was a very powerful podcast around the mindset of overcoming fear, uncertainty, and doubt, aka FUD. So that's a core kind of psychological thing that we all experience if we're dealing with crypto. Is there anything that you want to share around that, or should we just send users that way?
Well, yeah, I really encourage you to check out that podcast, because there we're not talking about the markets. We are literally going into the psychology, the metaphysics, the physiology of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD, right? The thing that I want to maybe say here in closing is we can see that just like this episode that we went over, this, all of these news articles, they're all fear, uncertainty, or doubt. They basically inspire in you one of these 3 things. None of them are like inspiration, I can do it, there's freedom, there's love.
Circle repaying back loans. Oh wait, no.
not to the people who actually gave them the money. So the thing is that like the foundation is that whenever we look out at the world, we will always see unstable structures. Like this is one of the things that I remember a long time ago, I read Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. And he talks about just like walking in a park, and there was like some ruins there from like some old buildings and things like this. And it had a little tab, like a little sign on there. It says, structures may be unstable. And I remember that from his book, is like, how true is it about life? Because, you know, even those things we rely on, because last year we relied so heavily, and it showed itself to be legitimate, to be true, we made money, we kept growing. Today, the same thing suddenly is draining all of money, or blocking us, or, you know, or maybe has already taken off with the money. And it's just like, if it's, you know, good yesterday, but not good today, like if I gave you a check for $1 million, but the moment you went to cash it, it turns out to be bad. But it was good the whole time. But just as you give it to the teller, click, it's out, right?
Mhm.
So what I want to share here is just that we won't find that permanence, that stability, that sense of reliability, that sense of like, wow, I can be totally at ease and safe. We won't find it if we are looking for our external circumstances to prove it to us, to show us that, oh yes, you are forever safe, you are going to take care of you. Because even if that appearance comes, it goes as well. So what we cover in that episode is like, how do we bring it in? How do we regain, so to speak, the controls? How do we find the levers again to navigate our experience and not look for something outside of us to help us to feel a particular way, but actually realize, oh, the sense of feeling, the sense of safety, trust, the sense of like, here it is. It's like, remember that all of the value that you've generated in your life, all the value that you have in crypto, what you put in there, you created it. Like you generated it through something that was coming forth from you. And then sometimes as we do that, and then we give it to somebody else, now we feel like, oh, it's coming from there. No, it always came from you. So when we start to really kind of own this space, that the value that we've generated, I can build it up again, right? This goes back to the scriptures. Tear down the temple, break it all down. I'll build it back up again, because the power is in me, the power is in you, and not in any of the structures that are obviously unstable.
I love that. Thank you so much for that, Crypto Sage. Very empowering. That's a great way to end this episode. Hopefully you guys found that valuable. Again, make sure to check out that episode. I'll link it in the description below. Any last words?
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful journey that we all get to take, and let's just support each other. Let's cheer each other on. Let's share truth. And I'm so here with Superhero Ninja in the sense of like, we are going through a transmutation. We are going through like an amazing alchemy, and it's uncomfortable. It's like growing pains. It's like burning things down. But we know that in the forest fires, things burn down, but there's those seeds that are only activated in the fire, only activated when they're being burnt. And then, it all goes away, and the seed pops open, and this brand new life emerges. So I really feel like we're right in the middle of that.
All right. Yeah, life is not central bank digital currencies, but whatever it is, it should be divine. All right. With that, God bless, guys. Take care. Make sure you guys stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.